All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, with the start of the 2024 Major League Baseball season here, who has what it takes to win the National League West? You look at those Los Angeles Dodgers, and they've basically just dominated this division in recent years. And with that said, each of the last 3 years has seen the Dodgers win at least 100 games in the regular season. But also, each of those years has seen the Dodgers fail to reach the World Series, more or less win it. And then each of the last 2 years have seen the Dodgers sent home early courtesy of their NL West brethren. In 2022, it was the Padres, and then last year it was the Arizona Diamondbacks. But there is optimism to believe that things could be different for the Dodgers this year. And of course, all the talk is about the arrival of Shohei Ohtani, arguably one of the game's best players. We've seen what he's done, for to begin his MLB career with the Angels, and now he's bringing it to the Dodgers. Of course, there's a little bit of controversy around Shohei right now. So let's see how that plays out. But nonetheless, you know, Shohei, on the field, he's going to be good to go. He's a box office attraction, which is right up the Dodgers' alley. It's both a hitter and a pitcher. Not going to pitch this year as he's recovering from Tommy John, but I still do expect Shohei to have a big time impact on this Dodgers team. Speaking of this lineup, you look at Mookie Betts, and he's back to looking like Mookie Betts at the plate. But how will he be in the infield now at second base? Mookie Betts has been a lifelong outfielder, so it's going to be very interesting to see how that transition works for him as well. At 34 years of age, will the Dodgers be able to get another MVP caliber season from first baseman Freddie Freeman? Another guy he's been good as advertised since coming west after all of those years with the Atlanta Braves. And Freddie Freeman is still one of the best in the game. A lot of talent in this Dodgers lineup. You got catcher Will Smith, the return of Gavin Lux, as well as Kike Hernandez, who was traded back to the Dodgers last season. We saw Los Angeles sign Teoscar Hernandez as well. But a lot of questions about the Dodgers pitching staff. The shoulder of veteran starting pitcher Clayton Kershaw, Dustin May with Tommy John, Walker Buehler returning from Tommy John. We also saw the Dodgers go out there, make the trade with the Rays for Tyler Glasnow, and they also signed James Paxton. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see how the pitching staff for the Dodgers is. I think they start off slow, but I do believe as the season wears on, the Dodgers pitching will get better. To me, I think Los Angeles has a good chance to once again be the team to beat in the West. But again, when you're the Dodgers and manager Dave Roberts, it's going to come down to what you can or cannot do in the month of October. Now, staying in the state of California and heading down I-5, excuse me, to the 619, and I'm talking about the San Diego Padres. And the Padres came into 2023 with a ton of hype, but were unable to live up to that hype as they only won 82 games. A lot of changes have been made for the Padres, but will it result in them being a better team here in 2024? Bob Melvin is no longer the manager of the Padres as he's going back to the Bay Area, this time to be the manager of the Giants. So San Diego has themselves a new skipper and former St. Louis Cardinals manager Mike Shildt, who led the Birds to the postseason in 3 of his 4 years there. We saw the Padres trade outfielder Juan Soto to the New York Yankees, which was big because, with his pending free agency, and the Padres having money committed in other spots, they knew, you know what, let's not just allow this guy to leave town and not get anything back. The health and availability of Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr., that's going to be a big thing for this Padres team here in 2024. Xander Bogaerts did not have a typical Xander Bogaerts type year after he signed that big free agency deal to come over from the Red Sox last year. What is he going to do the second time around in San Diego? We saw the Padres lose starting pitcher Blake Snell in free agency, but they kept Joe Musgrove and Yu Darvish and both of those guys need to stay healthy. Yuki Matsui coming over from Japan, what type of impact will he have on this pitching staff for the Padres? It's going to be very interesting to see if San Diego will get back to being a force in the West. Then you look at the defending National League champions, the Arizona Diamondbacks. We saw the D-backs get off to that hot start last season before they cooled off. They picked it back up and they did enough to get into the postseason. And of course, the rest was history. However, as Arizona came out of nowhere last year to make the Fall Classic, what will they be able to do this time around when they are expected to contend? You got a young and exciting core in the desert with the likes of Ketel Marte and Corbin Carroll. Of course, Carroll is the reigning NL Rookie of the Year. And we saw the Diamondbacks this offseason pick up some veterans that could have an impact on this team with the likes of Jock Peterson as well as Randall Grichuk. You got Christian Walker, you got Lourdes Gurriel Jr., and then you look at this D-backs pitching staff with the likes of Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly. And I think Torey Lovolo's club is going to be a force once again in the West. Now you got those San Francisco Giants up there in the Bay Area, and it's the dawn of a new era for Giants baseball as Bob Melvin, like I just mentioned, is their new skipper. Now, he has had a lengthy tenure in the big leagues as a manager, and now he returns to the Bay Area because once upon a time he was the manager of the Oakland Athletics. Now, in recent years, the Giants have had one of the worst offenses in the National League. That's got to change if they're going to be able to turn things around. We saw San Francisco try to patch this thing together over the offseason. They brought in Jorge Soler, and I think he can have an impact in the middle of this Giants lineup. You got Wilmer Flores as well, but the Giants, I think, are still going to continue to lean on their pitching. You got Logan Webb and you got Alex Cobb, and then you bring in Blake Snell as well as Robbie Ray. And can Robbie Ray stay healthy? That's going to be big. Giants have a very strong bullpen with the likes of Camilo Doval and the Rogers boys, Tyler and Taylor. And I think that pitching can help the Giants stay afloat, but they're probably going to need another bat or two if they're really going to be serious in the NOS and possibly as a wild card team. And then finally, there's the Colorado Rockies, and things continue to go from bad to worse for them in Denver. They're coming off of consecutive last place finishes in the NL West, while they also lost a franchise worst 103 games last year. You got to go back to 2018 to find the last time that the Rockies made the playoffs. And with that said, is there any hope that things can get turned around in Denver? Now, with the exception of doubles, Colorado was near the bottom of most offensive categories in the National League last year, which included them being last in on base percentage. And when you think about the Rockies historically, one thing that they can give you is offense out there in the thin Rocky Mountain air. That's not the case anymore. Chris Bryant, this was a big time free agent signing for the Rockies a couple of years ago, and he has become a shell of himself. Remember, this guy was tearing it up when he first came into the league with the Cubs. What has happened to that guy ever since he got hurt? Ryan McMahon and Charlie Blackmon continue to be two of the few bright spots on this team. And you look at this pitching staff, the Rockies have really never had great pitching historically, but it was worse last year. No starting pitcher for the Rockies made at least 30 starts. No pitcher for Colorado was even able to win 10 games. They had one of the worst pitching staffs in the NL, and it was not even close. Or they had the worst pitching staff in the NL, should I say. And in my opinion, I think this is going to be another long summer rather, in Denver. So I look at this division. You look at it, I think the Diamondbacks are still going to contend. I think the Giants should show some improvement under new manager Bob Melvin. And I think the Padres, they're going to show flashes. But when it's all said and done, I still believe that the National League West is the Dodgers to lose. You got Shohei, you got Betts, you got Freeman, you got a lot of depth in that lineup. And like I said, as the season progresses, the Dodgers pitching staff will get better. It's basically been the Dodgers against everybody else in this division. We've seen how Los Angeles has basically just put a blanket over the West for about a decade now. And I think that trend continues here in 2024 as I'm picking the Dodgers to once again win the National League West. So, folks, that's going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank all of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.